Arabiya.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Al Arabiya, Nadine Hani and her panel.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for staying with us. I hope over the past 2 days that you found the conversations to be exciting and interesting. For me, it was a great experience reporting live from here on all the opportunities that have been put forward for the private sector. A lot is happening in the GCC, and it's interesting to be part of it. This is the last session for this conference, so we will try to make it short and sweet. The title of this panel is Building the Future of the GCC, the most important capital, human capital. MENA is the world's second youngest region, with 60% of the population under the age of 30. The biggest economic and social challenge facing the region right now is its youth unemployment, running at above 25%. Regional economies have failed to keep pace with the rate of population growth. Many countries, especially in the Gulf, have embarked on transformational plans to diversify their economies, enhance the role of the private sector, and hence create the needed jobs for their youth. At a time when the world is gearing up for the fourth industrial revolution, what are the set of opportunities and challenges that it presents for tomorrow's job requirements? And is our youth equipped with the right quality education and training that provides the foundation of a healthy modern economy? We will try to discuss those issues with our panel. We have with us His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Isa Al Khalifa, Chairman of Tamkeen in Bahrain. We have with us also Mr. Gordon Campbell-Gray, the founder of Campbell-Gray Hotels from the UK. Mr. Bernie Dunn, President of Boeing Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey. And also with us is Mr. Nicholas Aaron Koo, President of Singapore Computer Society. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us. I'm sure all of you have exciting stories to tell on what you are doing in your respective industries to help create the skilled workforce that is required by your companies and the companies of the private sector in Bahrain. Let us start with you, if you can tell us what Tamkeen is doing in that space.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's an honor to be here. The whole vision of Tamkeen stemmed from His Royal Highness asking us a question of who's it for? And the answer is all this development that we work for in government should be for the people. So how can we make sure and empower the people and put their future in their own hands to be able to create a brighter future? So with that in mind, Tamkeen, which means empowerment, as you all know, has been about how do we empower the people of Bahrain to create a brighter future. So whether you're an entrepreneur, we can support you, or if you're an employee and want to improve your skills, we have a whole host of programs to support you. But it's all about the individual and how can we give them the opportunity to make the most for their career.
Sheikh Mohammed, we have a problem in the Middle East. We always talk about that. It is the mismatch between the output of the educational system and the skills that are required by for the jobs market. So is Tamkeen doing any, first of all, do we have the skill of on-the-job, the mentality of on-the-job training? And are you doing anything about that?
Absolutely. I mean, maybe fellow panelists can comment because that's exactly what they do. But at least in Tamkeen, what we offer is in order to address this gap, so we do not deal with education. We take the entrance to the workforce. So the way we work to deal with it is give companies the flexibility to train the people in any manner they see fit, be it on-the-job training, intensive courses, or whatever, and we fund that training 100%. Be it basic skills like English or math, or more technical, or even on-the-job practical training. Whatever that training is, we will fund and remove the burden. You know, we need companies to employ people, but we remove the financial burden of having unskilled people. And we offset that by paying the cost of training and subsidizing the wages during this training period.
Mr. Bernie Dunn, your industry requires a high level of skills, obviously. So could you share with us your experiences in enhancing workforce skills?
Absolutely, Nadine. Thank you for the question. You know, there's no way that you can bring a young person into a company, especially in high-tech areas such as aerospace, and expect that what that young person learned in university is going to be enough to carry him through a career. The key to this is what we call lifelong learning. And we're all doing it every day, we just don't really realize it. Boeing has tried to formalize that in certain ways. Some years ago, we created an institution we call the Boeing Leadership Center, the BLC. It's based in St. Louis, Missouri, and it's sort of like the Boeing University. And this is where we run a series of courses which are not so much on the technical aspects, but on leadership, globalization, issues going on in the world, things that a person will be faced with apart from the technical aspects of his day-to-day business. And we rotate our employees through there depending on what level they are in the management and leadership chain. And we also try to open it up to partner employees, employees of companies that we work with, airlines, for example, cycle their people through there because helping them understand the world and leadership is a benefit to us as much as it is a benefit to them. It's been so popular, and we've globalized ourselves so much in the last 20 years or so, so many employees abroad now that we've had to shop this abroad. So we take those same courses and we do them in various locations around the world. I've had 2 or 3 of such sessions in Dubai, and we pull in not only the faculty from the BLC, but people like myself, senior executives, to lecture or teach a course and impart their regional knowledge and their experience and wisdom. And it's worked out quite well. But between such formalized training and then on-the-job training, particularly in the technical level, it's just simply impossible to stop education at the level of university and think that some person is going to be a valuable employee through the course of a long career. Can't happen.
Sure, and I'm sure Singapore is a model for, I think, how they did it in the right way. So could you share with us, Mr. Nicholas, the experience of Singapore so we can learn from that?
In Singapore, we have a unique model where all the stakeholders, whether it's government, industry, labor, movement, unions, and we try to work closely together. Because we're a small country, just like Bahrain, and we have to be coordinated. So last week, I was at the graduation ceremony of the largest vocational training center in Singapore, and the oldest one, Singapore Polytechnic. We're graduating 6,000 students at a go. And it was telling because it was, at the graduation, it was no longer about goodbye, all the best. It was about see you again, you're coming back for more education after this. and that focus and emphasis on lifelong learning and continuous education, not just in one sector, but across all the stakeholders, all the industries. So at the Singapore Computer Society, we've been tackling this for a long time. Professional development, we've been working with all the stakeholders. It started from professional certification. We were looking at, okay, if we can get our workforce certified for what's relevant to the market, we will be in a better place. And it's worked well. But we're also seeing a shift towards relevant experience beyond just certificates. And we work closely with the stakeholders, government, and all that, and came up with this thing called Professional Conversion Program. So basically, if somebody who is maybe further along in his 40s or his 50s, and saying that, well, I'm not sure, can this work for me? Well, there'll be some who'll be saying that, well, I'm in my 50s, I can see the finishing line, I'm not going to change. And there's always going to be those who are like that.
But you had to work also on the mentalities then.
Exactly. And what we're trying to do in our professional conversion is we try to cushion, make it easy. We work with the employers, we get government subsidies in. We said, what if somebody was in his late 40s or even early 50s and from a totally different industry? Can we get him into a different sector? Government subsidize his training for 12 months. He goes for night classes, and the employers come on board. So we all have to be coordinated in that sense. And that's where even our labor movement, they come in, try to coordinate with all the parties. And continuous education, we're also thinking about the digitalization of it, not just going for night courses and all this. It takes a bit of effort. So last week, in fact, we launched micro-learning on mobile phone, because mobile technology right now is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. Can you get somebody to pick up new skills in short snippets of time on a mobile phone? And this is some of the things that we've been looking at. But to emphasize that in Singapore, we have to coordinate closely with all the stakeholders and try to solve this.
By the way, I'm not sure in the Arab world how much companies accept let's say diplomas that are learned online or digital learning. This is something also that we could talk about later on. Mr. Campbell-Gray, yours is a different industry. Probably your industry is characterized, first of all, by the large numbers of people that are needed. Second of all, maybe by the turnover. So what do you do to help incentivize people to stick around and learn and increase their skills?
Well, I think we're in one of the most exciting sectors in the world, and I get terribly frustrated when so many people don't really consider this as a profession they should go into. And I know even myself, when I told my parents I wanted to be a hotelier, they were really disappointed and didn't see it as a serious profession. And within our industry, there are so many varying skills, and I think it's one of the few professions in the world where you could start literally at the bottom and end up at the top. And I think, excuse me, I think that is such an important ingredient. And it turned out really I was born to be a hotelier unexpectedly, and I love it so much. And I just wish we could try harder to get it recognized as being a really serious profession. Now, and it's also a profession which is needed all over the world, and through it you can travel and have great experience. So to answer your question, I think it's very basic. We really have to make our most important department our human resources department. We have to really motivate, inspire, and train people. And I think this can be very lacking in our industry, maybe many industries. And I always say, we have got to truly love our staff. And in our case, we don't make anything, we provide service. So we rely on such a large team who do everything from, they could be waiting, cooking, looking after rooms, there could be chocolatiers, florists, IT. We cover sales, marketing, public relations. There are so many threads within it. And it is just vital that we are motivators. And luckily, having a small company, and I have to say that I have never, ever been an advocator of big. So I love small, and I love individuality. And I think we've proven as a small company that we can kind of fight against the big boys and sometimes win very well, because we are small enough to really care. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is in our company, and we only have a few hotels, although some more coming, is that I try to make sure that I meet the final interview of every single member of staff. Now that's quite a tall order, but extremely important. And to just give you one quick example, in London, when we had 160 staff, they came from 52 different countries. In Beirut, 94% of our staff are Lebanese, which is, to me, absolutely fantastic. It's in the culture, they make wonderful stuff, they're adorable people, they're a handful, it's like riding a
Thank you, I'll take that as a compliment because I'm Lebanese, but I have to say that for Lebanon, the hotel business is linked to some kind of glamour as well. So probably this explains as well the high.
Exactly. And as we know, the Lebanese are glamorous. But the thing is, we are opening in Bahrain later this year, and I really, really, really want us to have a high proportion of Bahraini staff, and that will be our challenge. So we have to really get across that it's not overly hard work. Every job you succeed in involves hard work, but I think we have to get across that it is a civilized job and we need to treat people well. And I'm really a man with a mission to get as many Bahraini staff as possible.
So His Royal Highness the Crown Prince said his vision for this conference was to have action. So as Tamkeen, any Bahraini you hire, we will subsidize their cost for 3 years and pay for their training on the job.
Wow, thank you very much. That's the best news I've heard throughout the entire conference. Thank you.
Made your day. That's amazing. Sheikh Mohammed, I'd like to ask you about a theme that is basically the technology, the fourth industrial revolution. According to the World Economic Forum, the fourth industrial revolution will make around 7 million jobs redundant in 15 developed countries by 2020, most in routine and admin jobs. On the other side, it will create 2 million jobs in computing, maths, and engineering. How will it change the dynamics for the GCC region? We see that there is a big drive for the adoption of the digital economy. Yet, what about the change or the disruption that it will create on the level of jobs?
It's definitely a challenge, but we saw the panel before us with the young. I believe in the ability of the youth to adapt. So I'm not too worried. I think the jobs of the future will change and the youth will adapt. The people younger than us and the people just graduating today are much more adaptive. They grew up with the smartphone. We didn't. To them, it's second nature. So they will adapt better than maybe we're used to or we fear. So I'm not too worried about getting the youth. We need the systems to adapt. We need to make sure we respond. And this is what we try to do in Tamkeen, which is we always try to listen and respond to what the private sector wants. So we will provide and we will entertain any proposal from the private sector. New programs, new ideas. And we offer training in Bahrain all over the world, from certified financial analyst to a yoga instructor or cordon bleu chef. It can be, so the flexibility, economies are moving faster. Yes, there will be a challenge, but I'm confident that we will adapt.
Mr. Dunn, you work in the GCC countries. What kind of opportunities and challenges do you think will this technological wave bring for the workforce in this region?
You know, that's a very interesting question, Nadine, and it's one that almost no one can answer. You know, the way that we approach this in Boeing as regards our work abroad, and particularly in the Arab world, is to teach the fundamentals. What are the fundamentals? In our view, it's STEM and entrepreneurship. If you were to go back 60 or 70 years, you would never find a kid saying, when I grow up, I want to be a software engineer. No one would have known what you're talking about. Just like 60 or 70 years from now, we cannot predict what the job market's going to look like. But how do you prepare people for whatever it's going to be? You teach them the fundamental skills. STEM, and on top of that, in this part of the world, entrepreneurship. STEM applies anywhere in the world. Entrepreneurship is, I think, particularly necessary in this part of the world, where governments have tended to be rather patriarchal and paternal, and folks never really had to do much in the way of getting out there and learning job skills, getting into the job market. But those days are over, as we've heard many of the leaders in this part of the world enunciate recently with their Vision 2030s, Vision 2035s, and whatnot. If you teach the fundamental skills and you add an element of entrepreneurship on top of that, being not afraid to take risks, being not afraid to fail, get in there and create a job, create a company that provides jobs, you will be anticipating and solving the problems without even knowing it. And in this region, we partner very closely with the governments on these things that we do. And we find that they're very, very appreciative of those efforts because they know they can't do it themselves. The governments cannot keep creating jobs in ministries in order to absorb the graduates from the universities. They very much appreciate our efforts to help kids learn those entrepreneurial and job skills that are necessary for success wherever this crazy world takes them.
It's such an interesting topic, and I have to say it's close to my heart. I would have loved to keep on asking you more, but I know that many of us have planes to catch. So unfortunately, we have to stop at that. I want to thank you for all that you're doing to help the youth enhance their skills and have a better future. And thanks for contributing to this panel. I have the honor of closing the conference, and this is why before I let everyone go, I would like to make a few announcements, or basically a remind of some of the important announcements that were made during this conference. Bahrain's Survey and Land Registration Bureau today announced plans for a proof of concept for a new generation of advanced, live updated, high-resolution 3D maps of the Kingdom of Bahrain. This will play a key role in supporting public and private agencies in areas such as road maintenance, security, urban planning, postal service, and public transport. It will also lay the ground for innovations in transportation, including autonomous driving, which will help improve efficiency across Bahrain's roads. So a very interesting announcement. There's also another one that was announced today, which is from the General Directorate of Traffic. It has today announced a new pipeline project to introduce a blockchain-based vehicle registry system in the Kingdom of Bahrain. This registry will help reduce the overall cost of maintaining critical vehicle information, offer greater efficiency in terms of supply chain management, and ensure a high level of transparency for all stakeholders in the vehicle registration ecosystem. So very interesting announcements from the government of Bahrain. A lot has been done. I have to say that working with Team Bahrain over the past 2 days has been an amazing experience. I hope that you've all enjoyed the discussions and the conversations. And at the end of this conference, I would like to thank everyone for being here. Thank you for the organizers for this lovely forum. And we have a video to showcase the best of moments of the past couple of days. Thank you very much.